we might finally be in for Warcraft 4, the RTS game, or an actually proper Warcraft 3 Reforged. Not even a speculation, Blizzard accidentally, or on purpose to build up hype, dropped a hidden patch for Warcraft 3 Reforged called 2.0. For context, Reign of Chaos was 1.0, Frozen Throne was 1.0.7, Reforged 1.3.2, meaning that this might be seriously big, as it is a whole number. Big as in getting a whole new game. Keep in mind, in just a few weeks, we will likely get Warcraft Direct, which is the 30th anniversary of the franchise, where we will get a roadmap for War Within and potentially a whole new RTS game, as it seems like. Seeing that we actually got a survey for what they wanted to change in that, we might be able to already say what this Warcraft 3 Reforged again could look like. If you guys want to buy Total War, Elder Scrolls, or any other game, you can get them at great prices with my Gamivo link. You can also get anything Warcraft related, gift cards and software, and all below market prices. Best of all, if you add my code DORON, you can get an even bigger discount, so make sure to check out my link in the description and get some amazing deals with Gamivo. So most of you know the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft is happening right now. It is all over the place, but what a lot of people forget is there is also the 30th anniversary of Warcraft as a whole franchise happening around the same time. In fact, first Warcraft game ever released was in November 1994, which means the anniversary is just around the corner from the release of this video. This means that big things will be announced once this event happens. Now, if you guys haven't followed the news, the interviews, the conventions, there will actually be an announcement. BlizzCon, as you may know, is not happening this year, but Blizzard actually confirmed back in August that there will be a presentation that will happen by the end of the year called Warcraft Direct, and it is likely that this will be going on right around this 30th anniversary. They literally had the number 30 and the Warcraft logo in the 0, so it's very likely that this will happen in just a few weeks. This is where they will reveal the official roadmap for the War Within and what we could expect, but it was kinda revealed all of a sudden that we might be seeing something big actually happening with the RTS side of things and Warcraft 3 Reforged, and this might be the biggest bit of news yet. Hopefully, they also might give us a date on when we could expect to see Midnight being announced, which would be super exciting. Now, the reason I'm making this video isn't just because, you know, the 30th anniversary of the Warcraft franchise is happening, therefore something could possibly might be going on with the RTS as well, and we are getting Warcraft 4. No, there is actually legit evidence that was sort of leaked. However, before we get into that, let me really quickly mention what we already know, but what a lot of people have forgotten by this point. So, something huge happened last year, and that is that Microsoft bought Blizzard, and around the same time, Chris Metzen returned as the guy in charge of the entire franchise. In his return letter, he said that big things are happening for the entire Warcraft franchise, not just WoW, so they probably already knew what was going on. At the same time, we had a big interview with the CEO of Microsoft, now the CEO of Blizzard as well, who was surprisingly really excited about the Warcraft Blizzard titles, and he strongly hinted they got something planned for the series. He said they're really open about doing reworks of old Blizzard games, but actually quality ones and not cash grabs, which was unfortunately Warcraft 3 Reforged. It was like the definition of a cash grab. It was also kind of out of nowhere wearing a StarCraft 2 shirt on a convention recently, which is a little bit odd because, you know, Microsoft has like a million other things going on at the same time, and we will be getting big Blizzard news in just a few weeks. However, the rabbit hole goes even deeper. Back in January of 2023, so nearly 2 years ago, Blizzard released a pretty big survey to Warcraft 3 Reforged players, asking them a lot of questions in regards to a significantly improved and essentially a soft relaunch of the game with a whole bunch of different points. It's important to note that this is around the time when Chris Metzen returned. I mean, sure, he returned as the lead story guide around last BlizzCon, but he was actually around for nearly a year before that in an advisory role, and Microsoft was in the process of buying Blizzard for a while as well, so a lot has been cooking in the background before the official acquirement. So that means that obviously they were interested in this. However, just a few days back, the Blizz tracker identified patch 2.0, a developer build for Warcraft 3 Reforged. It was there for a little bit and then it was removed. It's possible this might have been a mistake as this was a developer build, or it was just Blizzard purposefully leaking their own stuff to raise up hype for the actual announcement, which will happen in a few weeks. Now, patch 2.0. Wow, big deal. What does that even mean? Now, if you're not too familiar with the naming conventions, this does actually hint that it is a big deal, just the name itself. See, Reign of Chaos, the initial installment of Warcraft 3, started with patch 1.0, then Frozen Throne hit a few minor patches, and Warcraft 3 Reforged started with patch 1.32. Then we got a ton of small updates over the past few years, and it ended right around 1.36. This means that the first installment, Reign of Chaos, was patch 1.0, Frozen Throne, which was really a whole game in itself, started with patch 1.0.7, so getting a whole number patch would mean a really big update. Keep in mind, the entire Reforged ordeal was 1.32, so not even half a number, with apparently a brand new rebuild game. This could mean that either we're getting a full-on relaunch of Warcraft 3 Reforged, but in a significant manner, or potentially even Warcraft 4, because it could be such a big jump. Warcraft 4 might be a little bit crazy, but I don't think it is necessarily out of the picture entirely. It wouldn't have to be a whole new game, just an updated campaign, sort of what Frozen Throne was to Reign of Chaos. Now, to not just speculate and inject my thoughts here, we do actually have the official Blizzard survey that you can see, where they asked players what they would like to change. So obviously they were considering changing these particular areas. Outside of multiplayers and ranked play, they did ask about a significant art rework and the different graphics for the entire game. They were asking about campaign improvements, custom campaigns, as well as clans, and the rework of the entire UI and menus. Now, it's not really an unpopular opinion nor unheard of, but Warcraft 3 Reforged was a huge flop. Now that the Blizzard leadership changed and we know some of the behind the scenes of those past few years, where they had essentially just softly revealed that they previously were just milking the Warcraft franchise as a cash cow, it is of course no surprise that this is happening. A lot of us expected that the Warcraft 3 campaigns would get better and improve dialogue, much better cinematics up to like today's standards, different storylines from the books that were not in the original game. For example, the High Elven King Anasterian and Arthas duel, which was a huge thing, but it was not actually in Warcraft 3. Instead, none of that happened. We got graphics that arguably look even worse than the original ones, mainly due to the really weird art style that was just so strange, and some cinematics that look worse than like the worst fan-made machinima. Everyone at the time was really shocked how a gigantic multi-billion-dollar company could possibly release a game of this level of quality. Well, looks like that might be changing soon. Huge things are happening with Warcraft in general since Blizzard was acquired by Microsoft. First, we got 3 expansions already in the works, and they are hinting at other things happening after that as well. We got some hints for them restarting the movie or starting an animated series, so it would really be in character for something to happen to what actually started the Warcraft franchise, and that is the RTS. Furthermore, another big thing happened because let's be real, a lot of these announcements have to do with money and budget and how much money they could earn. NetEase was the official publisher for Blizzard games in China for a long time, and then they had that huge problem a year or two back where they had a terrible falling out and they were like destroying Blizzard statues. Well, recently they started working again, seeing that the leadership in charge of Blizzard was changed, and this could be yet another big stepping point for announcing a new Warcraft RTS game. Everyone knows China is a huge market for Blizzard. They not only had a ton of players for a while, but the Chinese market essentially saved the Warcraft movie from being a huge financial flop. So with NetEase, they could have a significant platform to actually sell Warcraft 3. Now personally, I would really like to see Warcraft 4 potentially with a new campaign, maybe an in-between Warcraft 3 and WoW, or maybe some ancient part of Azeroth like the War of the Ancients. The most likely situation though is that we could see Warcraft 3 Reforged once again, so brand new graphics, updated campaigns, potentially new voice acting, and maybe actual changes to the storylines as well to reflect the books, essentially what all of us expected to see from the original rework of the game. They had years and years to gather feedback and realize why people hated the Reforged version, so with the new Steam for Warcraft in general, they got a huge chance to really make something great. Thanks for watching. Check out Blizzard finally revealing what Beledar actually is by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on Perun and Slavic mythology by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.